Hi guys, I wanted to give my reflections on the ongoing drama between Nexus and Linus Tech Tips and what I think it has the potential of doing to the tech community and especially the PC hardware community, where I think this toxic tone in between them is really not helpful for anyone. And the first video that Steve made was actually really good and was raising some concerns that I think is absolutely valid, and that Linus Media Group really has to dive into and make sure that these type of inconsistency in their testing is not just happening over and over and over again, because they need to meet that one video a day schedule that they have set up for themselves. And as Steve pointed out, this is one of the things that Linus employees also has some concerns about, that they are producing pretty bad videos from time to time just because they need to get something out. And I think the water block situation is one of those videos. I watched it when it came out and I was like, I don't know what to do with this information. They tested the water block that was for a 3090 but on a 4090, and for me it's like, okay, I'm not gonna do anything with this information because I don't know how the product actually works. And I think Linus' response to this was horrible, and especially auction it out and be like, oh, we didn't sell it. Yeah, that was really bad. I do think though that if you look into the email conversation where LMG actually were about to give it back, I think it was their intention, but somewhere on the way with that big staff they didn't communicate well that you can't auction this out, because I have no doubt in my mind that Linus would not auction the water block out on purpose, knowing that they sat there and were waiting for the water block. And in their defense, they didn't get an answer in 7 days or something. And I don't know. That's a messy situation. I don't think Linus Media Group handled that very good. But I will get into what I think is probably my biggest concerns in this. Begin with Steve's side, as his work to being more of a media outlet and do actual journalism that puts Gamers Nexus in kind of their own niche, where they actually try to do more of journalistic work, and I really appreciate it and love a lot of it. However, I think in this case, when it got so personal from the beginning, for the simple reason that it's personal. They know each other well, they have met each other a lot, they have done stuff together, and they have a personal relationship. And I get that Steve really wants to make a point of that they need to treat Linus Media Group in the same way as they treat other companies or big corporations. But in this case, I think it's actually what he doesn't do. And Linus did state this in his answer to Steve, where he said, I wish you reached out, because I think that's the normal thing to do in journalism. I would really not want to make that phone call and be like, oh, hi Linus. And we're doing this thing where we're basically telling the audience that you are misleading them and just caring about money. But at the same time, I think if you want to make it so objective as you say, you need to do it. And especially now when he came with his response, like first Linus gets a response within 2 hours, which is 100% written on adrenaline. And you probably have been there too, when you're out there on the forums and someone responded to you and be like, hey, you're wrong, man, and this thing you said is freaking ridiculous. And you're like, what? You said this, and then you pick apart everything they say, and because you're on adrenaline, which, like, it's totally normal. But I think both Linus and Steve should know better than publish. Like, Linus, don't go out on the forums after 2 hours. You don't need to do it to respond. And Steve, when you read that, like, the first thing you should do is not start making this video on the new response. And this is one of those things which I try to take out with my clients and to live by in my life, that when I feel something and I get really heated up, do not act. Because a lot of the times what you say or what you write is probably not representative of what you actually think. Like, I'm 100% sure that both Steve and Linus is trying to do the right thing. And for Steve to say that Linus just, like, he implements that he just cares about money and running the corporation and whatever. And if Linus did just care about money, he would have sold it for $100 million. And for me, it's very obvious that he does not only care about money, he cares about his passion. And him, just like me, being like an ADHD person, sometimes you're just quick on the trigger and you just want to make stuff happen, and you want it so bad that you don't know when to actually, like, pull the brake. For me, watching Linus Media Group grow for these years, I think it has been so cool. And when Linus reached out and wanted to hire more people for the labs and said, like, if you think I can't afford you, try me.
The vision for this lab is pretty simple. In the time I've been doing this job, tech journalism has suffered blow after blow after blow. Nearly every publication that I followed as a young enthusiast has either folded or been bought out by a soulless corporate interest. And most of the journalists who guided me through my early years have retired, or more likely moved over to the manufacturing side where there's still money to be made. That ends now. The gloves are coming off. Are you an expert on mobile gaming performance or displays who needs a second day job to survive? Are you stuck in marketing for a major board manufacturer and hate every minute of it? Do you think I can't afford you? Try me. When I'm done, every square foot of Lab 1 is going to be filled with engineering personnel and equipment that will take our content to the next level, starting behind this door, and you're going to want to be part of it.
For me, that gave me goosebumps. He really believes in something and wants to do something good, and he realizes he needs to have a lot of people, and he will take the risk of losing a lot of money for getting nothing. But they are growing so fast that it has gone a bit out of control. And yes, I think Linus, from time to time, when he responds to these things, he's just not thinking that much about it, because he have like 3,000 projects in there, like put more time into that water block, for example. I can see how he's like, what? No, just forget about it. It was bad. Move on. Because he's probably thinking about the new screwdriver, or whatever they're doing, or thinking about the labs or another video or whatnot. And even though it comes with some problems doing that, it also comes with like the best screwdriver in the whole world. I freaking love this thing. I really don't think that Linus just cares about money, or that they don't care enough or whatever. Like, if Linus wanted to make as much money as possible, I don't think he would make the labs. Because he makes the labs because he wants to do actually good testing. I can see how Gamers Nexus can feel threatened about that and try to see what's wrong, and also can be like, well, you have more people hired at the lab than we do at the whole Gamers Nexus, and still you won't see when you have a 300% difference between the 3090 and the 3090 Ti. Yes, I can see how that looks very, very strange. But at the same time, I think you lose the objective view of it, and I actually like. I really don't like the tone going on in between them, and I've been following both Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech Tips closely for quite many years, and I've seen Steve grow his channel to like 2 million subscribers from the like 50,000 or whatever when I started watching, and I just think it's sad that he is willing to paint out Linus as a bad person. And the tech community has been so good at like working in the same space and showing respect to each other, and I'm actually really worried that that is about to not go away but change. And I really hope that they will just figure this out and don't do it in the open. Like, I don't wanna follow this because I don't like what I think it can do to the community. So that's all I had on this, and I really think that Linus and the whole staff at LNG will do everything they can to fix this issue and to not make it happen again. And they discussed it on one show last week. They should have someone to like watch their video one last time so they don't publish it with these really big flaws in them. So that's all I had.